Hey everyone, it's Mr. Sud coming at you with a lesson on preconditions and postconditions in our arrays. So here's what's happening. This is Unit 5, Lesson 5. So 5.5. What we're going to do is we're going to spend some time going through, and I'm going to go straight to the end here. So we're going to practice writing algorithms with arrays. Okay, so I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and just start showing you the code, but I'm going to also talk about it in this video. When you go to lesson 5 on sorry, I said unit 5. We're on unit 3, lesson 5, about one-dimensional arrays. Okay. When you go to lesson 5, we're going to go all the way to the end because 3 and 4 are tied together. In part 3, you're going to go ahead and do the total. In part 4, you're going to do the average. So I went all the way to part 4, and let's just I've done a bunch of these in class. I'm going to do song plays just so I can put something new in this for the video that I haven't done yet, so I have to clear it out. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We have a main class here, and we're going to go ahead and do some sort of coding that's going to use the one-dimensional arrays to calculate a total song length, presumably, and the average song length as well. So let me explain a couple things here that's happening. So when you get to lesson 5, one of the things you need to understand is there's two different classes. Obviously, we have the main class, and then we have the other class where the data about a song is all created here. Title, one-dimensional array for the song plays, a constructor, right? All that's here. And then at the very end, there's this thing called dailyplays.txt. This is a text file. Essentially, text files are just that. Everything listed here, you'll notice it's all kind of grayed out. The Java does nothing with these text files, at least to my understanding. So it's not running any code here. It's aware of that, so it won't give you any errors. So text files are essentially just like a piece of rock. It just does nothing there. So what we need to do is code.org, for its infinite wisdom, went ahead and created this file reader, okay, .toInt array. So that is their code, to my understanding, that they made. So there's an object called file reader we're using to call this method called toInt array. Basically, what it does is when you use it, it's going to go ahead and take that text file and it's going to dump it into a one-dimensional array of an int data type. So they've coded that for us. So we just need to use it. I'm going to go ahead and do that while I have a chance. And essentially what I want to do is, because this is an integer data type, let's go ahead and type in the like, I don't know, this would be song list, right? Oh, sorry, silly me. We have to make a bracket, hard brackets, for one-dimensional array of integer data types called, say, song list. That's going to go ahead and take in this value here. So file reader.toInt array, inside the parentheses, you have to type in, and I did this in an earlier lesson, where you have to type in the name of that text file. So there we go. So now what's going to happen, I'm going to run it just to make sure I don't have any errors. It's going to take that text file and dump it into the song list one-dimensional array. I get no errors, so I know that's good. Okay, so let's go back because that's done. Now I'm going to look at song. Eventually, I'll look at the constructor in a minute, but we basically need to code this calc total plays. Here's the deal. We're going to go ahead and traverse through the one-dimensional array of this guy, song plays. Okay, so I'm going to copy and paste that because I'm going to need it in a second. And I'm going to go ahead and traverse through it, and then we're going to go ahead and calculate total, which I'm trying to find here. Here we go. Okay, so the total, what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and write a for loop. Okay, and I'm going to do the index equals 0, index is less than the length of the array. And then we're going to go ahead and add 1 to the index at the end of every loop. Once I'm in this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to need some way to traverse through the array and keep it running total. So I'm going to make a little total variable, and when you do the plus equals, you can either do a concatenation, or in this case, we're dealing with numbers, so it's going to go ahead and add all of them up. Another way to write it too is total equals total plus whatever. It's going to be song plays bracket index. So you could do that. So what's going to happen is total has to start with some value, just so you know. I'm going to do that in a minute. But it's going to take whatever the previous total value was and add it to the new length of time the next song plays. So if the next song coming in at index value 0 is 3 minutes, it's going to add that to total, which is blank right now. To make this work, we're also going to need to declare and initialize a int total variable of 0. Typically, I do that whenever we're trying to count or score or add points, things like that, test scores. We always want to initialize it to a value of zero or whatever you want, but at least it has to be zero. I would recommend doing that. That seems to avoid a lot of the errors. Okay, another way to write this line is you could do total plus equals, and then that could totally just do song plays index. So that's the same thing. We just coded. This is a little bit less keystrokes. That means it's faster. That's all I have to do. Once I do that, we're not going to return -1. We calculate a total, so let's go ahead and return total. Let's go and run it, make sure there's no errors, which there isn't. Perfect. Okay, so moving right along, we're going to go ahead and while we're at it, let's go ahead and calculate the average number of plays. Okay, so keep in mind, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. We already did the method for calc total plays. So whenever I use the calc total plays method, the output will be the total amount for all the songs, right? So if I added all of these up, sorry, it's not the minutes, it's how many times these songs have been played. Okay. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is we have this for loop and everything's created. Now, here's where it gets kind of confusing. For our human brains, I just wrote this code for calc total plays that's going to go ahead and calculate the total amount of play times the songs have been played. So in my human brain, I'm thinking this is done. So I do know off the top of my head that average is equal to the total divided by the total song length or the number of plays divided by the array name dot length, right? So we know that to be the case. If I run this right now, let's go ahead and return average. First thing that's going to happen is I will get an error because average is an unknown data type, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, int average. So now I've declared and initialized at the same time. Let's go ahead and run it and see what can happen here. Okay, so we got one big error. It's saying, yo, what is this total variable? Now, at first glance, you're going to get frustrated because, well, come on, dummy. Up here, we declared and initialized our total variable. It's right there. So we did the math. Why is it not working down here? Well, here's the deal. We are in the song class. Okay, so the song class is essentially just a bunch of instructions that are written. Just because I have a calc total plays doesn't mean that total is like there for the taking. There's no value in the variable total. So right now, when I'm in calc average plays, total hasn't really been created yet, as far as the program is aware. What I mean is we need a way to trigger or kick off or execute this calc total plays. And then once I do that, then the program will know, oh, okay, it can go ahead and run it. So instead of total, let's go ahead and call the play or call the method right there. It seems scary because you're used to doing objects, right? We're used to using objects to call methods. Well, in this case, there's no object. Well, and obviously we don't need an object because I'm not in the main class. So there's no objects to even deal with right here. So you can go ahead and use that method within another method to call it. And that's totally fine. Let's go and run it. And now calc total plays will run. And at the end of the rainbow is the total that's going to spit out. You just can't see it here. So in the back of your mind, you're kind of a little bit nervous because you're like, where's the total? But it's here. Trust me. We ran that. We get no errors. So we know that's clean. Average is calculated. We're good now. So I've done the total method. I've done the average. So now I can go back here. We already called the file reader, right? So that's done. Okay. We stored it in a 1D array called song list. Now we need to instantiate a song object with the 1D array. Okay, so let's go and do that. And then we're going to go ahead and call that method. So we have a song object. Let's just call it, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Total number, right? And let's make it a new song object. And I'm going to just take a quick look because inside the constructor, I thought I saw some stuff that I wanted for parameters. And there you go. There's the title and the number of song plays. Okay. So then I can go here and type in, I don't know, what, I'm blanking on let's just do Stairway to Heaven. I don't know. Okay, some song that I just thought of. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in this song list because the second component or second parameter it wants is that array name. So there you go. Go ahead and run it. I'm going to stop on the comments because that becomes kind of tedious here. Not tedious, but it's a lot on my video. So we went ahead and instantiated a total number object. Now we can call that calc total plays method using our object. And let's go ahead and print it. And let's just do two birds with one stone. So system.out.println. we're going to go ahead and do the total number object dot calc total plays. Right. So in the tester class, you do, or main class, you do need an object to call the method. So I know we're aware of that, but there it is. Let's go on and run it. And you'll notice that a number just gets spit out when it's done. So it's trying to do the math slowly but surely. It's a slow day. We're just waiting. So feel free to fast forward a couple seconds probably if this thing ever loads. There we go. Now it's compiling. You can do it. There we go. It's a big number. And that's totally fine. So again, when I print stuff out of context, it's like, what is this number? What am I looking at? Now remember, you could go to calc total plays back here. If you wanted to, you could try to do, hey, the total number of downloads is, and then total. That would be just fine, except our method here is an int data type. So I can't add any text in the return. So what I can do, though, is in the system.println, I could say, what does it want me to write? Return the total number of plays for this song. Concatenation, and that'll be a little bit cleaner. Okay, so that's going to happen. I'll print it out later. The other thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and do the average. And for the average, I'm going to scroll a little bit to the left just so it's not as indented. So for the average, let me just go ahead and write it just because might as well. And again, we're going to do system.out.println. And I'm going to type in the average number of plays for this song is, and let's do a concatenation, use that same object of total number to do calc average plays. And if we run it, this should look a little bit cleaner. And there we go. So we have both numbers there. If we test it, we succeed at everything. So there you go. Okay, so the main thing is we have a text file in code.org. We use the file reader to bring that text file over to a 1D array. And this is how you're going to write a for loop to traverse through a one-dimensional array and add up all the values. So hope this helps, and just let me know if you have questions.